Hello, Voiceflow builders. On this video, I will teach you how to do Vision AI on your Voiceflow project with both OpenAI and Anthropic. We will use the new GPT-4.1 mini model and the new responses API from OpenAI for this. And we will use the Claude 3.7 Sonnet model from Anthropic as well. On the video, I will give you a quick overview of how the flow looks like, how to perform Vision AI with Voiceflow. I will show you how it looks in the project, the extension, and pretty much how you can change it and how you can adapt it to your need. We will also set up the storage project on a platform we will use for this. And then at the end, I will share some tips and notes about Vision and what to look for. So with that, I would say we can start with the demo first. So let's get into it. Okay, for the demo, I thought it was going to be fun to use Vision as the character or persona of our Voiceflow agent, since he is an Android and he is named Vision. So pretty straightforward. We have the Vision project here, the Voiceflow project, already hooked into this website. And then I click Vision and then we can start. So the Voiceflow flow in this case is going to be very simple, but the idea is that you adapt this and you learn and you adapt this to your project. Probably you enable this clip to upload image after the user performs some action, or you enable the user to upload images. So one thing to note here is that at this moment, or for this extension, the user can upload one image at a time. So you can probably adapt this to the extension and the project to allow multiple images, but for now we are going to do only one. I'm selecting my image, my local image here, a popular meme, and then let's see the whole response, and then I will talk about how it looks like. We are going to review. So that's the end. So we scroll up. So at the beginning, we get first confirmation that the upload went successful. Then I render the image. Then I put some ID just to show how you can move data from the extension to the project, and not only the URL that we are getting. And then here's like kind of the completion from GPT 4.1 mini. The image shows a well-known meme featuring a young girl. And then at the end, it gives a bit of a response on, okay, this meme is humorously refers to the common situation, a common situation in software development. You can pause the video and read the whole thing. The next thing I enable both in the project and here on the displays to showcase like the usage of the images. So you can see, okay, how many tokens reading an image consumed. So now you have an idea. Then we get the completion from Claude, and it's pretty much similar, but you can see that there are some differences in how it responds. The prompt for these images or for vision are pretty much the same, and we are going to see that as well. And same thing for Claude, we see the usage in terms of tokens. And at the end, I put a bit of a fun prompt to see how Vision will say about this meme, so you can read about it. So that's pretty much the flow ends, and the idea is that you adapt this to your project and then to customize it depending on what you need to do or how you want to go about it. So let's go for how all of this looks in general first on a flow, and then I will show you on the Voiceflow project. Okay, so let's talk about how all of this works in general. First, high level, and then we are going to see the Voiceflow project in detail. So the way this is possible is because Voiceflow gives us something that is called extension and custom actions. And with that, we can customize like the experience and the UI, the interface, the UX in the chat widget, and then use that information or use that to also enable something else inside the Voiceflow project itself. So the way this works is that we have, for example, the website, the widget on the corner. We get some rendering on the chat widget. And all of this is happening through the dialogue management API that you don't really need to care much about, but just to understand like the fundamentals behind it. The Voiceflow agent sends some information to the API, and this is relayed to the chat widget in the form of traces. And once you get a trace that is named as after your extension, then the Voiceflow widget code renders this or processes this and shows something on the widget or something happens on the widget. And once the widget and your extension are ready to continue or wants to communicate back to the Voiceflow agent, you can send some actions, and then everything is processed back on the Voiceflow agent. So this is kind of the overview of how this works. In detail, the way that the Vision AI works is now, let's take a look at this diagram. As I said, Voiceflow have some way to send some information to your extension, get back, and then communicate to external APIs, right? So on Voiceflow, we pass some payload to our extension, which is like a JavaScript running on your browser, on the browser of the user. But then you enable this because you add some code or customize your snippet installation from Voiceflow, and we're going to see how that looks like. But in essence, like from the extension that I'm publishing with this in this repo, we are going to use Supabase as the storage. So a note here is that I'm using Supabase because it's the plan, or the free plan, is very generous. You can have like many uploads without paying anything, but it's easy to use. Like you have a lot of things that you can do with Supabase. You can do this with any other type of storage. Could be Firebase, could be Vercel Blob, could be AWS S3, could be Google storage as well, like, or your own server if you have something enabled for that. But yeah, for the demo and for the extension, I'm using Supabase. And what happens is that from the extension, we upload the file. The Supabase give us back, or I request like what is the public URL of the object that we uploaded, and then with the custom action, with the action, we pass an interaction back to Voiceflow, and in Voiceflow, using functions, we call the LLMs, and then we get a completion, and then it's display on the project. So with that, we can enable this upload using an external platform to Supabase, because the LLMs are able to read images. So the idea is to get a public URL from Supabase and pass it on to the LLM, and the LLM is now able to get that image from that public URL and then read what is render and read what is the image, and then give you a completion about it. So that's kind of the whole overall of the flow and how it looks like. So next, we can take a look real quick on the code and then how it works. Okay, so let's take a look at the code and the project in Voiceflow and see actually how all of this works. So on this repo, you are going to get the VF project, so you can run this on your own. But then you are going to have the source folder as well. I'm going to show it here. So on the source folder, we have the image upload extension. This is the JavaScript that you need to add for this to work, and the index HTML that we're seeing here. You need to adapt this on however you install the snippet on your website. But the key points here to change, this is a bit different from the snippet that you get on Voiceflow, because right now I'm using the module type on script, and here you will have like JavaScript in the snippet, but you need to change this way to have it to import like the JavaScript. So there are other ways. If you are a developer, you know that you can import files in a couple of different ways, but yeah, this is one that you can use. And then you can have this. You need to host this first on a public asset storage or something that is able to read from websites. So you have to publish this extension somewhere on your code on your website. You upload it, and then should be available. And then the next thing you need to update here is the Voiceflow project ID. And for the demo, I switched to development so I can work and iterate faster. The next thing is to add these assistant extensions and an array of extensions. And here I'm using only this one, but you can have many others. So this is a simplistic Voiceflow snippet to have the extension ready. But yeah, you can adapt here if you have other extensions, or keep it as production, or pass any other information that you need to. So this is from the snippet point. Then on the extension side, I would just mention a couple of things that we are going to use or to look for if you want to change something on this on this implementation. Of course, as I said, you can change all of this if you are going to use a different platform for hosting your files. But yeah, it's going to be this one for Supabase. So I think on the render, the thing to mention is that we upload first the Supabase JavaScript as code throughout this script element, and once it is enabled, we render the upload snippet on the code. So here on the render upload input, you have a simple CSS and JavaScript to render the actual input item, or like the actual input file input. And the other thing to mention here is that these two lines of codes are the ones that do the actual upload. So first upload image and then get public URL. And once you have those, you can trigger like an interaction, as I show you in the diagram, like an interactions. So you can say type complete. This is the name of my path on the extension that we are going to see as well. And I pass the URL and the upload information, everything that I got from the response on upload image. That's pretty much like the general gist of it. The other thing to mention here is that, for example, we are going to see that on the upload image, I'm using this uploads folder. So with this, you can change it, you can name it as you want, but I have uploads and the rest is all good. And here on the create Supabase clients is where we get like the URL using the ID of the project. I'm going to show you where to get this information, and the anon key or the public key, I think it's going to be named or renamed. But yeah, this will work anyways. So this is from the code point of view, and again, you have all of this in this repo that I will link it, or is linked on the description of the video. But yeah, basically this is the Voiceflow project, some documentation. The style you don't need to pay attention too much, but yeah, on the index is the snippet on how you need to update it, and the actual extension. This is the file that you actually need to host on your own, and then import it on your snippet, Voiceflow snippet, and then you can use it. So let's take a look at the Voiceflow project finally. So it's very simple. At the beginning, I set up a couple of variables. So to use a specific OpenAI model, as you see, 4.1 mini and Anthropic 3.7 sonnet. These are the code names of the models. So you need to go and check what models you want to use, if you want to use a different one. But you need to use like this specific codes, names of each model, and then it should work as it is. Then real quick, we see like a create payload. This is just for me to have a very simple way to build like the payload that we are going to use on the image upload. So here is where also, for example, we have a bucket assets, and then you can also rename this, and we are going to do a quick setup of that in a moment. But yeah, I use also here like secrets. I put the anon key of the Supabase project and the ID of the Supabase project as well. And then I store the information in payload. So this is a very simple function, nothing much to say. But here's where we get into how we connect this project from this point with the actual code in the extension. So for example, what it is, you need to put here, so payload, and this is the name of the function that I created here, right? So if we actually take a look, we can see that the payload that I am sending is ID, key, and bucket. So these are the data that I am going to pass to the extension. So this object, it's going to be this object, and with the name of the extension here is like X image upload. We can take a look at the snippet again and see that it is this same string here. So they need to match, and when they match, then you can then the Voiceflow code on the browser will pick it up, and then okay, if it match the same thing here, I will give control to this extension to be able to run. And that's how you can hook it up. You need to pass the same thing on this trace type as it is here on the extension, and you need to pass here the same on the name of the custom action. And for the payload, you can adapt this in code here, but I am using a variable payload to have it from the thing that I passed from this function. And I have two paths. As I said, I name mine path complete, but you can use like default or success or any other code that you want to do here, and error. And with that is where basically on the render upload input, we can see that yeah, it is name, it is complete when it's successful, and it is error when it's an error. So you can adapt that, and you can change those, and then you need to click on stop on action because yeah, the widget needs to give control back to the extension, and the extension will say, okay, I am ready to continue, when you say interact, and then you send the complete path. So that is how the whole thing works in general. And after that, it's just going to be normal Voiceflow things. Only to mention here on JavaScript, a step is where I have this Voiceflow variable coming from the payload from the extension. It's coming back from the extension in the last event. And the image payload upload ID is also coming from the upload ID from the extension. So these are two variables that are created on Voiceflow, and I set them, and then I can use them in other places. And then I reuse the payload variable to save something on the on this variable here, like save Supabase upload, and I get that to see on the traces on the transcripts that you can use for any other information. So if you see on the transcript, you are going to see this message. So Supabase upload and the whole payload that upload event or object that we got from the extension. I think that's pretty much. I render here like the image as we saw. I render here the upload ID. I also pass, you can also do this as a custom action. If you put debug and then you pass something, this is how you actually see the traces in the debug when you enable like the debug on your project or on the transcripts. And this is another way you can use custom actions to debug something or to pass some debug to your project, and then you're going to have it only on the traces. Then we get into the functions. So I'm not going to look into details of the function itself, but you can always edit function or go and open it up. But I'm going to only talk about like the input. So we get the image URL, you put an OpenAI key that you get from the dashboard in platform OpenAI, and then I put it on the secret so I can use it here. This is the variable that we added at the beginning. And then you can customize what prompt you want to pass to OpenAI to read the image. So I'm only using something very simple as what do you see in this image? And then it is going to reference like the image that is passed on. And but you can adapt this prompt way more into something specific for your use case. If you want to use this in a different way, you can adapt the prompt. And also enable passing how many tokens. You can change the function if you want to pass more inputs or less inputs, but yeah, this is kind of a example of how to use the responses API. So this is using the responses API behind the scenes. And the responses are output usage and output text. And this is where this is what I use both here on OpenAI model, the variable at the beginning, the response that I got from OpenAI, and in the next one, the usage. So you see the tokens and how it looks like. The same thing with Anthropic, using the Claude and the Vision, actually the completion API. So inputs are pretty much the same. The image here is also where you can change the prompt that you send to Anthropic, the tokens, the Anthropic model I used at the beginning, and also the Anthropic key you can get from the dashboard, from the console on Anthropic. So you can use the APIs. Here I have another output variable as model because you are passing the code name of the model, but you can get the actual name of the model that was actually used. So how if you pass Claude Sonnet, then it will translate to Claude Sonnet 2025, the actual longer name of the model. So I also pass back to the output here on the function. And yeah, the same thing, output message, output text like usage and response. And the same way, I use it like Anthropic model as the variable, Anthropic response, the thing that I get from the completion, and the Anthropic usage. Pretty straightforward. And almost at the end, for fun, I use this vision response prompt to see what vision the character will say. So at the beginning, very simple, I just say on the system, you are vision from the Marvel universe. And that's pretty much what it took to give the persona. And of course, I said, create something like philosophical but interesting, make one or two sentences, and that's pretty much. I give it the context of what the other model said as a way to, okay, this is the context that you can use. So that's pretty much. I think in model I'm using right now for O Mini, but you can change this to 4.1 as well or to any other. And for the Voiceflow project, that's pretty much what I want to show you now is the Supabase setup and how you can set it up for this to work. So let's take a look at that. To use the storage product. So what I'm going to do is to remove all of this and create it from scratch, so you can see that all of this works and how you can set it up. So I will delete this image, but all together actually the delete bucket. I will delete the bucket, and then we can do it from scratch real quick. So delete bucket. Let's go. Okay, so at the beginning, when you create the Supabase project, you are going to see something like this. The first thing that we could do here is to go to, let me move this a bit. If you go to project settings and you click on data API, here's where you can get the ID of the project. So it's pretty much like this string at the beginning, like this domain. So this is the one that you need to copy and then go back to. Let's go back to secrets here, and then I say project ID. This is pretty much the same thing as you saw, and the public key, the anon or the public key. So you can copy here and then go back and then say, okay, on the anon key, you click edit, and then you put the whole value here. Second, okay, I just copy pasted, save, and then okay, it went through, and basically that's on this part. Then if we go back to the project and we go back to Supabase, we are going to go to storage first. You create a new bucket. So I'm going to put the same. Well, let's use a different one. Just you can see how this can be changed. So you need to click here on public, and then you click save. And then, as I mentioned, I have a folder. Let me refresh this. So it's okay. It's Vision. So I create a folder uploads, because this is the one matching the extension. So uploads, that works. And another thing you need to do is to go to SQL editor. I will go back to the repo, and I added some instructions here. So you need to run this SQL. So the permissions are set for the bucket to be able to get to allow uploads. So I have it already here, but then my bucket was assets, and I changed to Vision. So let's run this. When it says success, then we are good to go. We can go back to storage. We are going to see Vision uploads. It is empty. So because I changed my bucket, I will go and then go to the create payload. And then instead of assets, you need to put Vision, and the rest is already connected to the variables. So with that, I think it's all good to go. Since I am on development mode, I just click run. And then if I switch back to the code here, I will start a new chat. Then we can test it out. So let's do another image now. Almost similar, but yeah, the one from another universe. So as you said, it's going to render everything like all the responses. And then that's all of it. And then we go back to buckets. And then if I click reload, we are going to see the image that I just uploaded. So just right now. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to do to enable this storage on Supabase for the project. Connect the API keys, connect the API public key, the bucket. If you use another bucket name, change it on the function that I show you. And I would say use this folder name, because this is one in the code. This is one in the Voiceflow project, so it's more easy to change. But if you can change the code, that is going to be no problem if you want to use another folder name. But yeah, that's all for this one. The last part, I will show you now how it's going to look, or like some tips on vision from the models, and then that's going to be it. Let's go into it. Okay, for this last part, I want to quickly touch on the documentation that you get both from OpenAI and Anthropic regarding vision. So these links are available on the repo, but once you click on them, you're going to get to this page first for OpenAI. So first is like you see that we are using the responses API here. And there are a bunch of things that you can read about this here, but the ones that we care about is like analyze image. So first thing is, okay, this is what we are doing inside the Voiceflow function, and pretty much is the version of Cure of like using the API. So normally you can send this as in this way, but we are wrapping this up in a Voiceflow function, so you can adapt like how we are calling this API if you want to pass more information as inputs or like other images. Here's where you can add more images. You just need to duplicate the images entries or inputs, and then it will go through, and then you will get your response. So in terms of inputs, you see that there are some supported files here, and then there is another interesting topic here, which is like the detail level that you want to get. And I think I put like auto, so the detail is like kind of standard, but you can customize this, and it will have an impact on the tokens. So this is a way to customize how many level of details you want to get from the image. And there are some limitations with working with this API. And these are things that you are not going to be able to use for these use cases, or some restrictions. So it's worth reading. And the next section is to how to calculate cost. So now we're using the 4.1 mini, and you get some calculations on, okay, depending on the width, depending on the height, how much token. So if you have that metadata from your images objects, or you can get those, is going to be useful to calculate the tokens and all of this. So it's pretty comprehensive in that sense. And I think that's pretty much. Then for Anthropic, it's kind of a similar structure. It works a bit on, okay, the basics and the limits, like in terms of sizes, how you can evaluate the image size, and then how it works in terms of the cost as well, how you can calculate your cost for your images. And then I think we get into how this would work. So for example, here you can use like base 64, but the version that we are using is actually URL based image. So similar to the OpenAI version, we use this messages API to get completion. So again, this is how you can change to adapt to more images if you want to. Basically, you just need to pass more objects on this call, and that will be pretty much. Another point as well is like the limitations. So you have some limitations. You can use this for people identification. There are some accuracy things there, spatial reasoning. Yeah, you can read. You should read all of this. But yeah, these are the two resources that I wanted to show you here. Again, I put this on the repo, but I would say that's pretty much for this one. I hope it was helpful. I hope it gives you a bit more of clarity on how you can do vision, but also how to work with extensions and how to work with these APIs. So if you find it useful, please give it a like and subscribe. So that's motivation for me to keep doing these videos. So let me know, leave some comment if you want to say something. But yeah, that's all for this one. See you on the next one. Bye bye.